chaos and hampering chances of getting Gaddafi's son handed over for trial in The Hague. Hello there, welcome to RT International. It's just gone 11 a.m. in the morning here in the Russian capital. 2 police officers have been shot outside Ferguson Police Station in Missouri in the United States. The incident happened amid skirmishes at a protest rally at the site. One of the officers was hit in the shoulder and the other in the face. Both are now in hospital and conscious. It happened during a protest following the resignation of the city's police chief, where also arrests have been made. Thomas Jackson quit after a damning federal report found evidence of overwhelming racial discrimination among Ferguson's police force. The probe started after an unarmed black teenager was shot dead by a white officer last summer, leading to nationwide unrest. Other high-profile resignations in Ferguson have seen a senior judge and a city manager step down. We will have our correspondent Guyane Chichikan coming up later on. We are keeping an eye on the developments in Ferguson and we'll keep you up to date on all the details later with our correspondent. Relations between Australia and Indonesia have certainly struggled of late, after Indonesia sentenced 2 Australians to death for drugs trafficking, that is. But Australia's appeals to not execute the men have increasingly infuriated Indonesians, to the point where one senior minister is now threatening Australia with a wave of asylum seekers. Threatening to bombard a country with illegal immigrants has become quite the bargaining chip in political quarrels elsewhere too, as Polly Boyko is going to explain now.
There's a new political weapon being wielded by countries, the threat of unleashing an immigrant invasion. Take, for example, Greece. The country's defense minister, Panos Kimenos, has threatened to allow millions of economic migrants crossing its border to travel into Europe if Brussels fails to stop Greece crashing out of the Eurozone. Bolstering his political leverage, or what many would simply call blackmail, was the politician's observation that there'd probably be some jihadists from Islamic State among those travelling to the continent.
Well, the worst case scenario is terrorists are allowed free access into the European Union and then can plan and execute terrorist actions very easily.
And the terrorists themselves are using the new political weapon. Last month, Islamic State threatened to flood Europe with 500,000 migrants from Libya if the West intervened militarily in the region. Telephone intercepts in Italy revealed that the extremist organization was threatening a psychological attack, sending hundreds of thousands of people out to sea in boats that would overwhelm rescue services and provoke riots in Europe.
I mean, I think it is very much psychological and real. No one knows how many people are going to come to Europe via Libya, but those people are primarily migrants, asylum seekers, people trying to escape the carnage. So I think it's actually trying to play on this fear of asylum seekers and migrants which is being stoked up across Europe.
Over in Britain, anti-immigration party UKIP is set to make massive gains at the general election. With public services such as the health system increasingly stretched, immigration is on the minds of many voters here. And at the same time, the government is trying to keep Britain's door closed to an increasing number of asylum seekers who are gathering across the Channel. In the French town of Calais, some 2,500 migrants have set up camp by the port, trying to make their way to Britain. Local authorities there are so frustrated with the situation and Britain's unwillingness to take them in that they've floated the idea of buying all the migrants' ferry tickets to come to the UK. The British government has helped to fund a large barbed wire fence around the ferry terminal, though, to keep illegal immigrants from stowing themselves away in lorries bound for Britain. So for any political forces willing to employ it, the threat of a wave of migrants seems to have become the perfect bogeyman. Polly Boyko, RT, London.
Okay, we're now going to get back to our top story. 2 police officers, they've been shot outside Ferguson Police Station. We've got Guy Chichikan, our US correspondent, poised to tell us the latest. Hi, Guy, good to see you just there. So what do we know at the moment? We know more troubling violence in Ferguson. What else do we know just now?
Well, Katie, St. Louis County Police Chief is saying one officer was shot in the face and one in the shoulder. Both suffered his, quote, very serious gunshot injuries, but were conscious. He said, and this is a quote, these police officers were standing there and they were shot just because they were police officers. We understand that the perpetrator or the perpetrators are at large now. This happened as protesters had gathered outside the Ferguson Police Department Wednesday night to cheer the resignation of the city's police chief, Thomas Jackson. Last week, Justice Department, as you know, issued a report damning the city's policing tactics for disproportionately targeting African Americans. Now, it was the